Lusk, you and your mother say you have no doubt whatsoever when it comes to knowing who your 3-year-old daughter, Samari's biological father, is.
Yes, Your Honor.
Unfortunately, the man you claim is her father has died, and now you find yourself facing off against his mother, who is just as convinced that she is not your daughter's grandmother.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Page, you say there's no way in this world Ms. Lusk is being truthful. For starters, you contend your son was in a committed relationship with another woman, and until he passed away, you had never heard of Ms. Lusk. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Lusk, describe to the court how difficult this situation has been for you and your daughter.
It's been more than extremely difficult being pregnant at 16, having to still go through school. These past 4 years, everything has been on me and my mother. And I feel it's completely unfair because he has a whole other side. She has a whole other side to her family. My daughter is beautiful, and you missed out on 4 years, almost 4 years of my child's life. Not
okay,
only
Ms.
me,
Lusk,
not only
everybody's a
me.
single parent. You're
not
the only
absolutely
one.
correct, but you
It
were a
happens
single
every
parent
day,
as well.
all day.
You were a single parent. You raised Desmond by yourself. You raised Desmond by yourself.
Yes.
You're raising a was now pregnant by yourself.
Okay.
So you should feel where I'm coming from.
Okay.
But not only that,
Let's get some order, ladies.
You're absolutely correct. I am. I'm doing a good job. I have 2 jobs.
Let's get
I
some
have
order.
2 jobs. Going back to college in August. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. But you should be on my side, if anybody, because you've been there.
Miss
My daughter is
Lusk,
beautiful.
Miss Lusk, calm down. Calm down. Ms. Lusk, you were saying your daughter, Samari, is almost 4. She's 3 right now.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're saying you believe Ms. Page's son is her biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
Unfortunately, her son is deceased, so this has been an ongoing paternity issue for the past 3 years related to this beautiful, precious little girl. And you're saying you need help.
They're out for money. I had insurance on
What
my
money?
son. I had an insurance policy. They're out for
That
money.
we knew nothing about.
Let her
That we
speak.
knew nothing about.
Unless it's proven, it's not my son's
You
baby.
never
I
posted
knew
it on
anything
Facebook.
about
Ms. Lusk.
Knew nothing about her.
You said you have an insurance policy.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so this insurance policy is in the amount of $50,000. You submitted that paperwork to the court. It is your testimony today that Ms. Lusk is attempting to get a portion of that money.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's why she's claiming your deceased son is her child's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor. I never heard of Ms. Lusk.
And
Never.
that
Your
was not
son
true.
was in a committed relationship.
That we
Ms.
knew
Lusk
nothing
was
about.
never brought up,
That we knew nothing
or brought
about.
around.
And the
Who
crazy
is
thing
Ms.
is, the last time we were intimate, you knocked on the door. You interrupted us. Yes, ma'am. I was
It's
in
in
your
her
house.
head. It's
I
in
was
Ms.
in your
Lusk's
room,
head. I
and you
never
came
heard
and
of
knocked
Ms.
on the
Lusk.
door.
Ms.
Never.
Lusk,
Absolutely
explain
fine.
to the court what happened that day.
It was a normal time scheduled routine that I would actually come over there because we had times that I would come over to see him because he only stayed a few blocks from my school. And during certain periods, whether it was gym or my lunch period, I would go. I would walk. He would meet me halfway.
When was the
Absolutely
first
correct.
time you
I did it.
physically saw me?
The first time I actually saw you.
When you proclaimed you were pregnant, you was very petite, no stomach, looking like an innocent child.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
had
You said
sore
go
Go
throat.
to
same
the
way I
school
look
to
now.
see my child. You asked to go to the school. Of course she wasn't showing. She was just pregnant.
You went to see Ms. Lusk at school?
Yes, I
Yes,
gave
I
her
went to see
permission.
her at school
They
to
had
talk
to
to her
call
and
an
to
accident.
find out what was going on. She didn't look pregnant. She was holding her head down. She had no stomach whatsoever.
But at the same time, this was my first time meeting you, Miss Page. Her exact words were, "You look like his type. You're very pretty, very small."
Miss Lusk
And
and
she
Miss
said the
Anderson, my
same
son didn't
thing.
have a particular type. He was in a relationship.
Miss Page, you're saying your son was in a relationship with a different woman, a long-term relationship.
Yes,
One.
for years.
More than one.
Another young
Today.
lady came out to pin the baby on him, and I did a DNA test, and it was 0 probability.
And that's
no,
why
I'm,
we're
not,
here
I'm
now.
not claiming
And
no baby.
we're
no.
not them.
Now listen, you said you had never seen her before until you went to her school.
Yes, Your Honor.
How did you get the news that she potentially was pregnant?
Well, I'm thinking that someone told me via Facebook or something like
No,
that.
ma'am.
So please respond, Miss Anderson. How do you know what happened?
I contacted Miss Page through Facebook to tell her to call me. She called me, and that's when I broke the news to her about my daughter being pregnant by her son.
Okay. And so you had a conversation, and during that conversation, what was said?
The very first thing she said to me is, my son is a legend. My son has women coming out the woodwork. She seemed proud.
And he's always going to be a legend in my book.
She then had the nerve
Always.
to say to me that her son had no reason to be doing whatever he was doing in his past. And, Your Honor, we have never asked her for anything.
At all.
Once she suggested bringing over a used walker. We declined her walker. She went into one of her little, oh, that ain't my grandbaby. Make sure you find your baby's daddy. And she's publicly putting it on Facebook.
Also to the point where I can't defend myself because she'll have me blocked or she'll have it where I can't post comments. And I don't slander her on my Facebook. Not once have I ever said anything bad about this woman.
Miss Page, are you posting things about Miss Lusk, this young girl, on Facebook?
She inboxed me, and me and her went back and forth on Facebook.
You're absolutely. But what led up to that, Miss Page? What led up to that, Miss Page?
Hold on, one at a time.
I know anything about a stroller because I'm not providing a stroller for a child.
It wasn't a stroller. It was a walker.
Whatever it was,
All right.
I'm not buying nothing.
Samari was born. Did you allow Miss Page the opportunity to see her? Did you say the baby's here now if you'd like to?
Because prior to that, we were already where she was on Facebook saying, you need to have your daughter find the baby's daddy. My son is not it. You're not allowed to put the baby in the last name Page. You don't have my permission. Like
Yes,
we
Miss
really
Anderson,
needed
because
it.
your daughter's on
like
the
we
back page.
didn't
Yes.
need your permission.
But the daughter's name is Samari Dior Anderson Page.
And that's not
So you gave Samari Desmond's last name.
Without my permission.
We don't need your permission. It was permission when I laid down and was intimate with him.
That's
permission.
It's not been
That's
proven.
permission.
It's not been proven.
But it will be today.
You're not
but it
his
will
wife.
be today. You're
not his
absolutely
wife.
correct. I don't have to be. And you're not either. You wasn't in the room, Miss
I'm
Page.
his mother.
Okay, and I'm his baby mother.
No, you're not.
Yes, ma'am.
You're
Absolutely.
a wannabe.
What I'm not understanding is it seems like you all have had consistent contact with one another. Has Miss Page had an opportunity to see Samari?
No, ma'am.
Never.
I seen her one
seen her
time by
once.
accident at an acquaintance birthday party.
So you've never had the opportunity to come by and spend
she
time
held
with
my
her.
daughter at that party. She also she had the opportunity. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Miss Lust, I held her and I got a picture taken.
You had a
Someone
few.
want to see. Did she
You had
even
a few.
favor the family?
You posted it on Facebook. You posted it on your Facebook page.
To be
So,
honest,
yes, ma'am.
I don't
This
want
is my
Samira
first time
around
seeing
him.
you, Miss Anderson.
Yes, it is. And my first time and hopefully last seeing you.
The feeling is mutual.
Okay? Because we don't
Listen,
want you around.
but if
I don't want my
listen,
child.
if the baby is Desmond's, this will not be the last time you all see one another. And that's why I don't know why we carrying on up in here today like this. You all could both be the grandmothers of this beautiful, beautiful
I'm
little girl.
definitely the grandmother. This is my child.
We know that. The statement is that both of you all could be, meaning Miss Page could be as well. So at the end of the day, let's just focus on the facts.
Yes.
So we can see how we go. I've done enough of these cases to know Miss Page is grieving. She doesn't even have a person to review these facts with. Let's be clear. She can't say to her son, Desmond, I need to talk to you about this, this, and this, so I can get an understanding. And so I'm sure much of this animosity, ma'am, and I hope I'm not speaking for you incorrectly, but much of this pain and animosity that is coming out in your testimony is because you do feel like you have a situation before you and you have absolutely no one to ask a question about it, and you've lost your son in the process. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. The only facts you can go by is the positioning of your son, what you were able to see prior to his passing, and that is what you were told, and you thought he was in a relationship with someone else, a long-standing relationship. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you didn't have any reason to know or believe your son was having sex outside of that relationship with anyone else. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I am just trying to give you all an opportunity to calm down and to see that there are two sides to this story. There really is. Now, the animosity you all have built up, that is because you've handled the situation inappropriately. A situation this delicate, it'll never need to play out on a Facebook. Miss Page, I want to understand from you, have you tried to ask some of Desmond's friends, maybe some of your other family members, were you aware that he was in a relationship with Ms. Lusk, were you aware he may have had a child?
I have asked everybody. Nobody even know of Miss Lusk. Nobody.
Okay. Now, Ms. Lusk, I want to ask you respectfully, were you aware that Desmond was in another relationship with someone else?
No, Your Honor. I didn't find out until the day of and the day after his passing.
So how did you find that out?
Facebook, social media, and that's when I believe four days after his passing, that's when I took my own pregnancy test and found out I was pregnant. That was April 24th. His funeral was April 27th. I didn't go to his funeral. I couldn't, because how can I show my face as, like, how can I even go? I can't even support
Miss
somebody.
Lusk, I didn't have time to grieve. I didn't have time to grieve either.
We haven't
The day
either.
after my son was killed, his first daughter was born.
I understand.
That was it.
Okay, I
Are you
understand
serious?
completely. But you are a grown woman. I was 16. The way you slandered me on
Are you
Facebook.
serious,
You
Miss Lusk?
slandered you called my premature daughter ugly.
I did. She looked funny. She didn't
Wait,
look
It was 3 months early, Miss Page.
Listen.
3 months early. And look at my daughter. That is
Listen.
the spitting image of your son. It doesn't hurt me. It's
I
gonna
don't
hurt that
see it.
child.
One at a time. Miss
Quote,
Page,
unquote.
Miss
Yes, Your
Page,
Honor.
if in fact this beautiful baby girl is your late son's biological daughter, do you want to have a relationship with her?
I can't answer that.
And why is that? Why is that? Because each year...
Miss
Give her a
Lusk,
chance to respond.
Miss Lusk, it's too much. It's too much drama.
And it's too much for me as well, because you caused the drama, Miss Page.
Listen. I know both of you are grieving. I know both of you are just beyond yourselves in trauma, in grief. So I am trying to give you a moment to let it out, but I'm not going to let this train leave this station and leave this baby behind.
And Your Honor,
No, it is uncomfortable to me from where I sit, Miss Page, to watch you shouting at this young girl, because you are more than double her age.
Double.
And I'm saying this because I know this is not really what you want to do. And I know your anger and your frustration is coming from this place of grief. But when I ask you, if this is your son's daughter, do you want to have a relationship? And you say, I don't know, because I don't know if I can take the drama. If that is your truth, I accept that. But what I will not accept is you all operating as if this drama has to exist, because it doesn't.
and that's all I want.
Let's get the truth. Jerome, in the case of Lusk versus Page, when it comes to 3-year-old Samari Page, it has been determined by this court the probability of relatedness between Miss Page and Samari Page is 99.96%.
Yeah,
4 years, and I never asked
For
nothing
4
of
years,
you. I never
almost
asked
died. My son been
nothing of
deceased.
you.
You're supposed to do what you got to do as a mother.
Stop
Absolutely correct,
arguing.
and I have.
Ladies, both of you all are in so much pain. Everything that comes out your mouth is bitter. It's not helping you. It's not helping that baby. And it definitely does not honor Desmond. Every child needs their parents. And when unfortunate situations arise like this, where life is cut short, all we have left for this child to understand truly who her father was, his life, pictures of him, that's you. And you want that little girl walking around this world having stories about her daddy. And that's how you keep someone's legacy alive. And I'm not preaching to the choir. I know it because I live it. People hear my son talk about my mother. It's like she's still sitting over here right now. He know everything about her, what she liked, how she laughed, where she went to school. He knows it all because I teach him that, because that's how I keep her spirit alive. He never laid eyes on her. She's never laid eyes on him except from the heavens. Do that for your son. Do that for this little girl so that she does not have to experience that level of loss you do. I wish you all the very best of luck. Court is adjourned.